blabbity blab. Now let's get to the main act!
Coming in at number 7, we have the lovely lightning lady known as Phosphora. Along with Arlon the Serene, Phosphora is another one of Viridi's generals, and during the lightning battle chapter, she demonstrates exactly why she merits Viridi's respect.
Yeah, Viridi knows how to pick her forces, and Phosphora is no slouch. During the flight segment of this chapter, she takes down Thanatos all by herself. Also, her dialogue in this chapter is hilarious, especially her conversation with Palutena.
Can't give it a second thought. Ma'am.
Uh-oh.
Did you just call me ma'am? Are you trying to start something? You're right, I'm sorry. You're much too young to be called ma'am.
As for the battle, I compare her to Akuma from Street Fighter. Low health, but she can bring the pain.
During the fight, Phosphora is a quick fighter that zooms through the field at, well, lightning speeds, and harasses Pit with potent electrical attacks. You will need something with high damage output to take out Phosphora. Prioritizing homing and speed is the key to this fight, so bows and especially palms are recommended.
With incredible speed, powerful lightning, and a sassy attitude, Phosphora zooms in her way to the number 7 spot. Only 3 chapters in and we get a huge boss battle against Hewdraw. What makes this battle so great is that the boss is practically the entire level, making it a very interesting fight every time you go against it.
Hewdraw is one of Medusa's best minions, and let me tell you, those 3 heads on that one body make for some hilarious quips.
It was my turn last word. Let's not argue for a face. Me, what I do? Knock it off. You knock it off. Let everyone understand this. Can I mention I'm starting?
During the aerial encounter, Hewdraw will attack using fire blasts, and he will even try to chomp down on you.
Also, the order you take out the heads will determine which one is the mini-boss and the end boss of this stage. However, every one of them will put up an amazing fight.
The remaining Hewdraw head at the end will spawn projectiles and lash out with physical strikes. Because the projectiles can be used against Hewdraw, however, accuracy is key. Not to mention, you will need some good power to take on the aerial fight. Orbiters will be your best bet with this fight, with the staff being a second best.
Overall, the fight with Hewdraw is very complete and tons of fun, making it the number 6 spot on this list. And that's the most you'll get out of Kragolanch. That is, if he can talk.
Kragolanch is one of Viridi's most trusted minions, and he is the core definition of silent but deadly. Kragolanch has a vast arsenal of attacks, including a vicious charge, a spread shot of flaming stones, and a rock flail. Not to mention, for a giant hunk of geological matter, this guy is quick!
This guy is a beast, having ridiculous power and defense. But there's one problem. The weak spot on his, well, butt. Even so, getting to that weak spot is where the tricky part of this fight comes in.
There are 2 ways to go about this fight. You can either rush his behind with melee attacks, or keep your distance and slowly wear him down with ranged attacks. If you're going for melee, a club or an arm is a good choice. As for the ranged option, a staff is your best bet for its high damage output from a distance.
In the end, Kragolanch is certainly one of the best bosses in the game. He actually was so cool I kind of felt bad for killing him.
You and me both, man.
Oh, I must have dozed off there. Oh, waiting around is such exhausting work.
Talk about a complete narcissist. Thanatos is one of Medusa's generals, and despite a less than tolerable personality, this guy doesn't mess around.
Actually, I go by Thanatos now. The extra H is for amazing.
Okay. Okay, sorry, sir.
While Thanatos might seem an odd pick for this list, his fight is completely worth it. Mainly because he keeps switching into his different forms, including a collection of blades, a skull jar, and a giant what?
Ever heard of athlete's foot?
Yeesh! Because of the constantly changing forms, each having a certain weakness, there really isn't a weapon that can truly make this fight any easier. If you're looking for pure convenience, a blade weapon would be the best option to take into this fight.
Also, you gotta love this guy during the chapter. I mean, he's freaking hilarious!
I'm curious about something, Thanatos.
Yes?
You are the god of death, if not. And if the underworld is the land of the dead, why don't you outrank Medusa?
I'm not really interested in climbing the corporate ladder. You wouldn't believe the amount of overtime you have to put in. Plus, that sort of strict hierarchy isn't the underworld style.
You're avoiding my question.
What was that? You seem to be cutting out. La 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 la, I can't hear you.
It's hard to get a good read on him. You can't tell if he's weird or just dim.
You know, this guy actually is kind of amazing. So yeah, we'll let you keep that little extra age, Fanny.
Hey there, Pit Stain.
Oh, come on, guys. You knew he was gonna be on here. The fight with Dark Pit is truly a battle of equals. Well, because he's Pit. So everything that Pit can do, he can do.
During this chapter, Pit is on a mission to take Dark Pit down, even though he admits that he's not even interested in serving Medusa.
You've got me confused with the other guy. This Pit is no pawn.
As a character, Dark Pit is actually very interesting since he's more of an anti-hero kind of dark character. In fact, I'm inclined to say he's a better dark anti-hero than Shadow.
Oscar, do you realize the amount of hate we're gonna get for that?
Yeah, I know.
Alright. Dark Pit isn't only a great character, he's also a great boss. The entire chapter with this guy is about fighting him and using your own weapons against you. Actually getting good at this fight will make you even better at multiplayer. So I guess that's why he's in Light vs. Dark.
Much like Thanatos, Dark Pit switches up his arsenal throughout the entire level, so there really isn't a truly effective weapon against him. If we're talking about the last encounter, however, I recommend a bow, since that will pretty much put you and Dark Pit on even ground. Ultimately, Dark Pit is a fantastic character and boss rolled into one, landing him the number 3 spot.
I've been so looking forward to your arrival, Kitty Cat.
Hades! Hades! Hades!
It's on!
As a character, Hades is among one of my favorites in the game. His sarcastic attitude, his snarky demeanor, and his hilarious quips are just pure gold. Even so, you will love to hate this guy by the end of the game, and now it's time to take him down.
Hades is everything a final boss should be. He goes all out and pulls every trick in the book in this 6-stage boss fight.
6 freaking stages!
How many stages?
The first stage places Pit near the ground while Hades attacks him with projectiles. Then he chases you down in a mad dash.
The second stage is a chase scene where Pit must destroy the vast assortment of weapons on Hades' body.
Then Hades goes full offensive in his third stage by pulling out his Rainbow Apocalypse.
I prefer to think of it as my devastation ensemble. I only wear it for very special occasions. You know, weddings, Armageddons.
The fourth stage is a technical fight where Pit must avoid color-coded fire and continue the assault.
Hades then destroys the Great Sacred Treasure in the fifth stage, and Pit must focus on a mysterious force before Hades can finish him off.
Finally, the sixth stage is an endurance round, where Pit must survive with his remaining health until he can deliver the final blow.
So if this boss fight is so complete and amazing, why is it not number 1? Well, the only thing keeping this boss from making it to the top is that Hades becomes very predictable after a while. Seriously, you can time him down to the very second. Still, this fight is amazing and it truly deserves to be this high on the list.
Now the question remains, what boss fight is number 1? Well, before we get there, let's recap. Number 15, Pseudo Palutena.
Number 14, Amazon Pandora.
Number 13, The Great Sacred Treasure.
Number 12, Arlon the Serene.
Number 11, Magnus and Dark Lord Gal.
Number 10, Medusa.
Number 9, The Chaos King.
Number 8, the Chariot Master.
Number 7, Phosphora.
Number 6, Hewdraw.
Number 5, Cragalanche.
Number 4, Thanatos.
Number 3, Dark Pit.
And number 2, Hades.
So, you're here to fight me, Pit?
No. No! I'm here to save you!
Yep, in the end we have to go with the fight against the goddess of light herself, Palutena. In the first part of it, the hype. Palutena was such a lovable character throughout the entire game. Then when she goes off the deep end and tries to destroy all of humanity, Pit has to face her in a battle what might possibly be to the death.
During the chapter Palutena's Temple, Pit is distraught to see Skyworld torn to pieces and to see the one person he cares for more than anyone else trying to kill him. The build-up for this boss fight is excellent, combining a foreboding atmosphere with tension from the dialogue in this chapter. Also, this is where Hades starts to become a serious
Yes, falling would certainly throw a wrench into the plan.
So we're getting tossed around by the side winds ahead. My, big bad. Palutena must hate you even more than I do. Save Palutena? Don't you mean crush Palutena?
Go home, Hades. Just go home.
Once Pit finally reaches Palutena, the fight begins. However, this battle is unique in the fact that you can't just shoot at her until she's dead like the other bosses in the game. Instead, you need to find a Chaos Skin that's controlling her without harming Palutena. And that's where the challenge comes in. If Pit damages Palutena too much, she will die and you will lose the fight. It also doesn't help that the Chaos Skin is moving around, cloaking himself, and will even resort to hiding behind Palutena to avoid damage.
And all the while, Palutena isn't holding back, firing a myriad of spells and energy projectiles that deal a huge amount of damage. This is a fight where accuracy is key and keeping your distance is a must. The best weapon to bring into this fight is a staff, since you can focus solely on the Chaos King without fear that a homing shot will hit Palutena. In addition, this will keep you from going melee, which is a terrible idea in this fight. Lastly, this is one of the 2 boss fights that has a unique boss theme, and it certainly fits the atmosphere of this fight.
This fight has so much going for it, the stakes are high, the fight is challenging and requires skill, the atmosphere is amazing, and the overall boss is just so much fun.
Making it the #1 greatest boss fight in Kid Icarus Uprising. I am the GreenScorpion,
And I'm Weedo Day 3. See you guys next time.
Pit.
Are you alright? I didn't mean to hurt you.
Pit! Behind you!
What you say? That you only meant well, 'cause you did. What you say? That it's all for